This video is sponsored by Lala Boutique. Stick around for an exciting offer. Hey everyone, it's Jack, and believe it or not, I don't do a lot of videos on runways alone. I've talked about challenges like the ball, design challenges, or the makeover, or just like offhandedly talking about runways when it has to do with a queen, but very rarely does the topic of runway take up the majority of the video. It's kind of been a conscious choice for me to not talk about runways that much because there's not a lack of people talking about the runways each episode on Drag Race. Fashion Photo Review, The Pit Stop, all of the Drag Race podcasts by Rue Girls, they can consistently give better opinions on runways better than I can. But this type of topic is a long overdue video because it doesn't have exactly a lot to do with how the quality of the runway is. A lot of the runways I'm going to talk about today are incredible runways that I am going to have input on. But ultimately, I'm going to lean towards talking about the runways in terms of the impact they had on the season and why we remember it in general. Today, we're going to talk about each defining runway of each season of Drag Race. For each season, I'll give a couple of examples before finally picking the ultimate defining runway of that season. And if you think I missed a look, there is a chance that I did, so please comment below some more suggestions. Make sure you like and subscribe because only about half of you are, and let's kick it off with season 1. Two looks that immediately come to mind for season 1 come from the first episode. Victoria Porkchop Parker's elimination look and Rebecca Glasscock's entrance look. Both of these outfits fall on the less than good side of season defining looks, but that doesn't stop them from being eligible for this list. Both of these looks have been referenced a couple times since this episode, which makes them more memorable than the winning design look of the episode that Nina did. I of course do think Nina's outfit is better, but just with the amount of times that we've seen these other two looks in other episodes and on social media, they seem to have really stuck with the viewers. Victoria being the first ever queen eliminated, or the pork chop, and getting eliminated in this outfit, any diehard fan is going to remember that. As for Rebecca Glasscock's look, it's just cause it's so of the time, I would say. We're not gonna get an outfit like this on Drag Race anymore unless someone is paying homage. There's some other looks from the season that definitely do stand out still. BB's runway from the Stronger lip sync or her finale runway. Both of these I think are super memorable, but that might just be to me because I talk about them a lot. And the last two runways are Chanel looks, either when she's coming down the runway where she's juggling or her Medusa look. There was no one doing drag in the competition like Chanel, and each week she was able to present something so different. Often a defining outfit to me is enhanced by the moment that is surrounding it, and I think that's the choice I have to do here. I'm talking about Chanel's Medusa look where she has the outfit malfunction, her headpiece falls off, but then she was able to push through it and come out on top. She's since revealed that she's played up this moment and had the malfunction happen more on purpose than a lot of people thought, but it still goes to show just how intricate drag looks are and how much they can malfunction and how easy it could be to either fold under the pressure or come out on top. The memorability of Chanel's looks have also rose in the rankings since her appearance on All Stars. Her juggling runway has made its rounds on social media with a lot of people appreciating it more, and especially her Medusa look. She walked back into the workroom paying homage to this iconic moment, basically acknowledging how memorable it was. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, Lala Boutique. Lala Boutique is an online adult toy shop center that has products that fit just your needs. The toys that they sell are very high quality and durable for a fun range of activities. And once again, just like last time, I want to talk about these products, but I have to get a little creative with how YouTube's guidelines work. We of course have the classic, which is the Ultra Blow. It's the product that I've definitely talked about the most. The Ultra Blow is an automated product that spins and dips up and down your main stage at 8 different motion patterns and rotating speeds. It is also ribbed for maximum lip sync pleasure. Much like queens who whip their head around and bounce to the beat of the song, this toy's head carries a lot of motion mixed with thumping and vibrating patterns and speeds. And the new product that they've sent is the Power Pump. Have you ever felt like your performance stamina has been subpar? The Power Pump uses suction at 3 different modes on your main stage that helps reinforce the sturdiness and gives you extra stamina for your lip sync performance. It's a high quality, smooth silicone product that gives you all the control to make sure you're going at your own pace. I'm so happy that I get to work with Lala Boutique again. I'm so happy every single time that they reach out. They're a wonderful company that is trying to destigmatize all the things around adult toys, and it really helps that their products are super high quality. Also, with Pride Month and summer just starting, I think it's the perfect time to spice up your life, whether you're in a relationship or you're solo. I think these products will bring a lot of fun to you. With all this being said, Lala Boutique and I are here to hook you up with an exciting giveaway. Everyone who signs up with the link in the description will receive free toys or gift cards. It's a really great offer. Thank you so much to Lala Boutique for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to the video. And also, before I continue, there's always going to be the argument to just pick the crowning look of the season. That moment is just so inherently tied to the season that it's not as organic as something like like a lip sync moment or just like a really good runway from halfway through the season. So I'm going to try and avoid those finale looks as much as I can, but if it is just that memorable and just that tied to the season, then I will end up going with it. Moving on to season 2, we get the first of a couple queens to have really iconic looks that I just don't really want to talk about. I'll briefly mention Tyra's crowning look and her wedding look, and we'll move on from there. Raven's finale runway has also come to mind for something that's really inspired a lot of people. Naomi Smalls, for example, recreating the look on season 8. I'd also like to mention Kylie's tiger look in the Snatch Game episode. Definitely not like a defining runway, but it's the first time that we saw an outfit reveal in a lip sync. The hardcore fandom also loves Mystique Summer Madison's country look, even though we know it's not that great. Cornbread once tweeted if she ever came back to the show, she would wear this as her entrance look if she got 10k likes, and then proceeded to get 150k likes, which is one of the most liked posts that I've seen on Drag Race. So this look has always stuck with me in retrospect. If you want the most realistic answer, it's one of Tyra's looks, but instead we'll just choose Raven's finale because it is also very influential. Season 3 is one of the first seasons that we'll see where it's like there's one specific runway queen that has a lot of different looks that you can choose from. So basically, which one is it going to be? I'm talking about the winner of the season, Raja, who has so many runways that you can choose. Her 4 design looks of the season all knocked it out of the park. The Christmas, the cake, the hair, and the money are all looks that definitely are super memorable and could be chosen. Her entrance look is also immediately striking and something that we hadn't seen before on the show. You can also argue that Manila's Big Bird look, which she referenced again on All Stars 4, or especially her pineapple look, could be chosen for this spot. But if you followed me for long enough, you know that I'm gonna go with Raja's Marie Antoinette look. Raja was the first queen to consistently take references and elevate them on a runway we hadn't seen before on Drag Race. And I think the best example is her runway right here. Marie Antoinette is a really iconic reference. Michelle is hating it at this point.
Stop doing Marie Antoinette.
But Raja took it in such a creative way, and it really set the bar for the runway going forward. For season 4, unfortunately, the most defining runway of the season is Sharon's apocalyptic look. It changed what type of drag was celebrated on Drag Race up to that point, and though I don't like Sharon and I don't like talking about Sharon, at least it influenced a lot of really good drag queens in the future. Some other honorable mentions otherwise would be Willem's boat look, because basically the entire episode was her being drunk in the workroom, I'm pretty sure, talking about this boat and how good it is, and then she ended up winning the challenge for this one. There's also Chad's inauguration look, which has aged like fine wine. It's one of my favorite looks of all time, and 2 looks that are connected to the best lip syncs of the season. We have Dita's This Will Be Gold look and Latrice's Natural Woman Pregnant look. Both of these outfits are good, but the lip sync they're attached to makes them 10 times better. Moving on to All Stars 1, I don't remember a lot of looks from this season. The Supergirl looks from the top 4 and Chad's crowning looks definitely stand out, but I think the runway that really sells this team concept is definitely the Teletubby looks from episode 1. Latrice and Manila took the team concept and ran with it, making a great reference to 2 of the Teletubbies that is even more relevant now because the Teletubbies have collabed with Drag Race. In a day and age where so many brands are avoiding Pride celebrations, it's really cool to see the Teletubbies collab with like Trixie Mattel or come in on All Stars 9. And looking back, maybe Latrice and Manila had a hand in that. Season 5 is not short of incredible runways, and you could choose a couple depending on what you're really looking at as defining. There's great design looks like Roxy and Lanesha in episode 1, or Roxy and Alaska in The Ball. Detox's runway in My Favorite Body Part is still one of my favorite reveals from the show, and how it was celebrated on the main stage, I love. There's Alyssa's look from the Roast episode, which Santino called the worst look he's ever seen on Drag Race.
Santino said it was the ugliest outfit ever.
Well, where's Santino now? Yeah. Motherfucker, here I am. Where are you at?
Coco's beautiful orange runway that she lip-synced against Alyssa in. There's also Detox's black and white look from the finale that definitely inspired the category on season 8. But if we're going with really defining, we gotta talk about one of Jinx's runways, and I think her Day of the Dead look is easily the best one. Jinx's entire storyline on the season was that she was doing good in the challenges, but could never really get it right on the runway. So she took a really big risk coming out in the way she did, but it left the judges with their jaws on the floor, and I think that's exactly what she needed to fully win the crown. This look showed that she has a side of glamour within all the camp of her outfits, and that makeup still holds up extremely well to this day. Season 6, you can pick any of the same gown that Bianca wore all season, and that's not even really being critical at all because she knew her silhouette and she did it really well every time. Gia, Laganja, and Vivacious all had really incredible entrance looks, and I was really close to giving it to Vivacious. There's also April Carrion's April Showers look, which a lot of people loved at the time. Ben de la Crème's design look in episode 1 was really impressive. Adore gained the redemption that she wanted with her diamond ball look. Trinity K. Bonet's crazy sexy cool look was enhanced by the What a Man lip sync, and 2 looks that might not be defining for specifically season 6, but are extremely influential in general. We have Milk's bearded runway and her RuPaul runway. Boy drag up to this point on Drag Race was extremely frowned upon, and so when Milk walked down the runway in not one but two boy-ish drag looks, the judges were clutching their pearls. These moments have aged like, for lack of a better word, milk, because in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that big of a deal at the time to dress in boy drag. It was only an issue that they made on the show themselves, so someone was bound to say F it and just do what they want to do, and I'm really glad that Milk was that person. But honestly, this is all just fluff because Courtney's Animal Kingdom look definitely takes the cake. I wasn't around in the fandom when the season aired or when the promos came out, but from what all the queens have said who've seen the promo, they were shocked to see Courtney's wing look. Just based off of scale alone, it was so insanely big for Drag Race because the queens had to follow strict rules about the amount of bins that they could have bringing into the competition. So when Courtney came out with these giant mechanical wings, it shocked so many people, and I think this is still up there with one of the most iconic looks from Drag Race. In a lot of ways, I think it raised the bar to do these really intricate things on the runway because it always serves the queens super well. Season 7 is another one of those seasons where it's like, which Violet look am I gonna pick? I will give shout out to the bearded runway like we were just talking about. A lot of the season's most memorable good and bad looks were in this category. Other memorable bad looks can be found in Death Becomes Her, especially Kennedy Davenport's, which could definitely be the defining look for the season. Her made-up backstory behind this outfit is what makes it so memorable, and also the fact that it is a really not great looking outfit, but it wasn't critiqued because they ended up all winning the challenge. So maybe on another day you could catch me picking this look, but at least for today, I'm between Violet's Death Becomes Her look or her fall fashion runway. Her Death Becomes Her look is where I think she won the season because of the extreme commitment she had to it, but I don't really see people talking about that outfit as much as I see people talking about her fall runway outfit. So ultimately, I think I'm gonna go with that moment. It was at the top of the season and I see it go viral all the time outside of Drag Race.
2 looks in 1. Inspired by Violet Chachki.
Violet talked about recently that the reveal that happened in this outfit wasn't really planned. She was just playing around with the look on and it ended up just folding over on itself. So for her to think of that and do such a clean reveal goes to show just how great of a winner she was for the season. Season 8, I could see a lot of people arguing that Violet's step down look is the best look of the season, but that feels a little shady and a little bit like it's cheating, and there's a ton of other looks from the season that I think are really iconic. Kimchi's design look from episode 1 is one of the best design looks that we've ever seen, and it's made even better by the fact that we saw Robbie Turner do a similar look later in the season, but Kimchi's was a lot better. In that same episode, we got Bob's entrance look, the outfit speaks for itself, and Naysha's very iconically bad design look. Moving past that, we get to the Roller Girl runway, with some people calling Cynthia's look this week one of the worst of the franchise, where we also had Bob's robot look, which she won in. Bob has definitely played into this over time because this isn't a good look, and it was funny to see Thorgy have one of the best looks that week and probably the second best performance and still not get the win over Bob. So people online love to bring this look up, and Bob loves to rub it in Thorgy's face still.
Why did I waste my time putting on
What?
this? Yes, honey. The iconic robot look.
Tell me this is the same one.
It's not.
This was also Kimono Gate season, something I've talked about a lot. Not extremely defining, but definitely worth a mention because they had to redo the runway on season 9. Naomi's Scarecrow makeover look is a personal favorite that I still think holds up super well, but ultimately I do think it's going to be up to one of the looks from the book ball, and I'm honestly having a hard time picking just one. Chi-Chi's look was great, and she could have definitely won this challenge, with the other two queens in the top being Kim and Naomi. Kim won the challenge in this beautiful look, and I've seen a lot of people say that this would be the defining runway, but I've also seen the arguments for Naomi's look here because it influenced RuPaul in the promo of season 9. It's really hard to choose between these two, so instead of doing a tie, I'm gonna give it to Bob's robot look. Just cause, you know, why not? All Stars 2 was on the cusp of the next generation of Drag Race runways because I feel like every single person on this cast had a runway that hit so insanely hard, and then we got a lot of runways that were good for the time, but by today's standards, maybe not the best. But the runways that hit, they stuck with you until today. Katya's latex look is a personal favorite and always the look that I turn to whenever Katya says that she wasn't good at Drag Race, especially when she's talking about the runways, because I think this one hit it out of the park. Alyssa Edwards' camera look is exactly what I would expect out of an Alyssa Edwards runway. Jeremy casually comes out in a top tier runway with the future look, and then we get a couple of Detox's looks who truly ran the runway the entire season. I was super close to going with her latex look as the defining runway because that's what I always think of when I think of this season, and her future look had every single person in the room room truly gagged. It's another example of, if you talk to me on another day, I would probably go with one of these looks, but ultimately what encapsulates the idea of All-Stars is Alaska's Lil Pound Cake look. Is it a 2-in-1 look? No, but that's not really what I'm judging this list on. Alaska calling back to her original season is exactly what All-Stars is all about. You've seen these people grow and what's worked on TV for them, so being able to bring that reference up for the fans, there's nothing like it. There's definitely better runways this season, but there's nothing that defines All-Stars 2 better than Lil Pound Cake. Season 9 was one of the first seasons where no look really jumped out at me right away. There are a ton of looks that I do love from the season, like Valentina's wedding look or Peppermint's club kid look. Those were two looks that were mentioned a lot on my community post. Shay's design outfit from the ball, the construction look, is often brought up as well. That's one of those looks that I could definitely see myself choosing. Aja's Princess Disaster look is definitely memorable because of the Linda Evangelista monologue. I could give the really easy answer of Sasha's So Emotional lip sync outfit, but at that point, it's not really a runway or like a look, you know what I mean? So instead, I'll go with another one that was mentioned a lot, Nino Bonita Brown's peach look. We had never seen drag like Nino Bonita Brown's up to this point on Drag Race, so for this look to be so celebrated and for her to win this episode, it was pretty major. She was able to take just an outfit and elevate it way beyond just the simple dress that it was. And I think she opened up a lot of people's eyes to what drag is and what people can do with makeup and construction paper. All-Stars 3 is another season where runways just don't really jump out to me right away. I think full runway categories this season were really good, like the Flower Power or especially the Redemption runway. Like we just talked about with Aja, her Princess Disaster Redemption look is one of the best of the season, and I think the sheer jump in quality of this runway sold the runway category to everyone. And since then, people were asking for it back basically every season until we got it in All-Stars 6. I think I am just going to end up choosing a Trixie runway here. Her entrance perfectly opened the season for how much she's grown, and her finale look is definitely elevated Trixie, even though she's revealed that this was just like a rented dress. But the look that comes to mind for me and a lot of other people is her Red to Filth look, which is just so good. It's made by the same person who did Katya's latex look the previous season, and it was just so creative in a way that no one else was doing on the runway. I know Trixie would never come back for an all-winter season, but I still do think how great her runways were on All-Stars 3 and how elevated they would be with all the money that she has. Like RuPaul says that she is so rich.
Trixie Mattel is so rich now. She is so rich.
Season 10 has a lot of looks that are really good and a lot of looks that are very memeable. We have Vanjie's Barbie look, Asia O'Hara's mermaid dress, Dusty Ray Bottom's feather outfit, Miss Cracker's hair outfit, and Monet's neon look and her sponge dress. Out of all of these, the sponge dress is the most iconic one just because of how like integral Monet is to the Drag Race fandom, but I do think there are a lot of good looks that need to be mentioned. Mohart's card dress could be a defining look because it was not in the top that first episode even though it should have been, which is defining in how interesting the judging was on this season. Asia O'Hara's dandelion look and her Tweety Bird look are two personal favorites of mine. There's also Cameron Michaels' feather look, which is a lot of people's favorites, but it's another one of those seasons where the winner had some of the best runways, so it has to be an Aquaria look. I've seen people say Evil Twin or her ball look, but to me, I love her oil spill mermaid look. It makes a great statement and it's super memorable because they haven't really done a runway like this since this season. And I think in season 10 is where we start to see the biggest bump in quality of runways. The tough competition are really separating themselves from the rest, especially when it comes to the runways of the season. And from here on out, I do believe people are spending more and more on their runways. All-Stars 4 is another example of queens spending a lot of money for their outfits, and it shows incredibly well. This is a great runway season. Trinity's body bag and Manila's Big Bird entrance stand out to me right away from episode 1. The top 4 finale looks are really great, but especially Naomi and Trinity I think knocked it out of the park. The Angelic White runway is one of the most consistently great runways all the way through, and I almost just want to pick that as a whole. There's really not one look that missed, and I do remember people being so shocked by this one, but I do think that's cheating and there are a couple more great looks. Manila's silver gown was one of the first big heavy hitters of the season, and people also really love her spaghetti dress that she wore for the Lollapalooza even though she wasn't even competing. And a big one that I can't really count but is defining in a way is her pad dress that she couldn't wear on the runway. The showrunners thought this was in poor taste, but she was clearly celebrating it, so I do think we missed out on a really great runway that definitely could have been defining if it did make it to air. But because it didn't and Naomi Smalls is on this season, I gotta go with a Naomi look. I do think her Sunny and Cher makeover has really changed the game for what people thought they could do on a makeover, but this might be cheating. I want to go with another look from that same episode. If we're talking about defining looks from a season with a ton of memorable moments, I think we have to talk about the most memorable moment from the season and the look that's tied to it. Naomi's green dress from the Come Rain or Come Shine lip sync where she eliminates Manila. That look is ingrained in my mind for so many different reasons. First of all, it's just gorgeous on her, but the way that Naomi performs in this lip sync and then the image of her holding up Manila's lipstick at the end, these 5 minutes of television are constantly referenced referenced and called back to, and it truly makes it the defining look of All Stars 4. Season 11 had some really great looks, but I don't want to sugarcoat it, it's probably just going to end up being an Evie look. I'll give a shout out to Suga Cane's look, which RuPaul loved, and I think Brooklyn Heights had the most memorable presentation of the season with her sequin outfit. But Evie was in a full different world on the season, and the judges tended to love it. I think the top 3 looks that could be considered defining are her jellyfish look, her orange alert look, and her finale lip sync mask reveal look. All 3 of these looks are just so unique to Evie, and while I'm trying to avoid finale looks as much as possible, this gown to me is so closely tied to what season 11 is, and I think I have to go with it. I love this reveal, and the way that she spins is so haunting and mesmerizing, and she was kind of already a shoo-in to win the season just by how the edit was going and how much the live finale loved her. I remember hearing a story of them having to reset after Brooklyn and Evie walked out, and when Evie turned around and people saw the mask in the audience, everyone gasped. I'm giving myself this one because I passed up on Sasha's, but again, I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. Chronologically, I believe that season 12 came out next, but we're going back and forth pretty well with the All-Stars, so let's talk about All-Stars 5. All-Stars 5 was another season where the queens who made it far into the competition did not come to play when it came to the runway. Miss Cracker was pretty good, these are easily Juju's best runways, and of course, Shea Coulee basically dominated the entire season with all of her looks. The top 3's finale looks were all so beautiful in different ways, especially Juju's, love that one. Juju's Freak Show look was again another complete home run. I also really like Shea's Rose Petal Carrie prom look. The concept behind it is super genius, and of course she's playing into the whole storyline they wanted her to have on this season. I think in a lot of other cases, this would be the defining look of the season if Shea didn't outdo herself a couple episodes earlier. Shea's Love the Skin You're In look is still as breathtaking today as it was when I first saw it. While on paper, it's pretty simple, the intricate stoning for the nude illusion gives it this priceless look. I can't really show the look unblurred because of YouTube's policies, and they're very weird about that, even if it's very clearly a costume. And I'm already kind of risking it with the sponsorship we have today, so you know. You've definitely seen this look, it is one of the top Shea looks for me, and in a season that she was already pretty primed to win, I think this look right here completely sold it. Up next is season 12, and this one is a pretty tough one. There's some Gigi outfits that are memorable, like her helmet looks or her ball look. Jackie Cox made a very powerful statement with her Stars and Stripes look. Crystal Method followed in Naomi's footsteps with her Bert and Ernie makeover, and a look that I was so close to going with, and I don't know if it's the right choice not to go with it. Jan's face crack look is definitely the most shared image out of all of these, and it is one of the most memorable looks, but I don't know if it screams season 12 as opposed to just a really great moment. The last two that I think it's between are Jada's ball outfit and her purple outfit. The bubble bath ball outfit is easily the most creative runway out of everyone in the cast, and if they wanted to justify her winning, she easily could have taken it. But I am going to choose her purple outfit as the defining runway of the season, because not only is it gorgeous, but we also got the 1999 lip sync in this outfit, which basically sealed her win to me. My bad, I'm actually going to mess up the order again and talk about season 13. And there's truly one look that really defines season 13, but also it kind of undercuts the real, impactful looks of the season. So I think for this season, I have to give it to 2 runways. Some looks that I considered but didn't end up going with are Utica's sleeping bag look, that one was really up there. There's also Gottmik's LeMay You Stay look and her business girl look. Candy's entrance is still one of my favorite of all time, but it's between 3 looks. We'll get the funny defining look out of the way. Of course, I'm talking about Lala Ree's bag ball look. This was the most suggested runway out of everything on the community post, and that really goes to show how memorable it was to so many people and how it is basically the defining look of the season. I am still shocked that in the same time that Utica did her sleeping bag look, Lala Ree did this, gluing paper bags to a corset and just walking down the runway trying to sell it. The sheer confidence that she had to walk down the runway in this look is honestly what makes it so iconic. I don't think we'd be talking about it in the same way if she broke down and said, I couldn't finish a look. But for her to go out there and act like it's the greatest garment ever made, you really gotta appreciate it. I do think Simone has the more defining outfits of the season, either her Fascinator look or her Train look. Both of them, of course, celebrating Black excellence, which is what Simone is all about. If I had to pick between the two, I think I would go with the Train do-rag look. The Fascinator look is a powerful message that transcends the show, but if we're talking about what really makes sense for specifically Drag Race, I think her do-rag runway fits the bill completely. All-Star 6 is the season of redemption, and we got a lot of great looks from a lot of unexpected places. We once again got the redemption runway, with my favorite being Raja O'Hara's tree look. The fact that she spent only $600 on this entire package is wild. There were also some entrance looks that were in the running for me, specifically Kylie's look, but I think that one was definitely enhanced by her iconic entrance line. And then there's also Silky's look, which is definitely an evolution of her season 11 entrance. I also do want to give a shout out to Akira's Frill of It All runway. They treated her so poorly on that season, but she still busted out some of the best runways of anyone. The colors on this one and the way she enters with the petals falling down into a dress. It's genius. And there's also Trinity K. Bonet's pop art look, which I think was executed perfectly. The makeup, the message, everything goes together for exactly what the category was asking for. But I do think I have to go with another finale look because it is the look that basically won this queen the season. Kylie's finale look that she tripped over but then recovered was the moment that probably ended up winning her the crown. It was a neck and neck race between her and Raja, and I do think this was one of the first times where the final lip sync actually played an effect into it. Often it just feels like finale lip syncs are a last little celebration, victory lap, and it doesn't really have much effect on the competition. But here, the way that Kylie fell and recovered, I think that's exactly what they were looking for. Season 14 was another season that had a lot of looks that I really liked, but nothing really stepped out as the main look of the season. I saw people suggesting Bosco, Camden, or Daya's tutu looks. I also saw a lot of people saying Maddie and Daddy Morphosis were the defining looks, which in a weird way I can see, especially with how Maddie's been blowing up on social media. But I do think I just have to give it to one of Willow's looks. I don't want to give it to I Hate People because I just gave it to a finale look for Kylie. So instead, another one of my favorite looks from the season that I definitely do think defines the quirky nature of season 14. The whole sense of kind of being trapped in a purgatory season. It's Willow Pill's Spring Has Sprung look where she has her face trapped in the house. The look is extremely silly with still a sense of strong fashion and style to it, and then she throws in a twist at the end with the help written on the back of the house. It's just layers on layers on layers of concept and funniness, and to me it fits the vibe of season 14 perfectly. All-Star 7 is such a tough one because there's so many runways that I could see defining the season. Jada, Trinity, and Raja's design looks are easily some of the most memorable of the season. I love Shea and Evie's light up looks, I love Jinx's and Jada's reveal looks, even Shea and Monet's second design looks are really striking to me as well. We also have Raja's Crown It runway, which launched 1,000 ships. For those who weren't in the fandom at the time, Violet and Gottmik took over Fashion Photo Review, and they didn't really like this outfit, and fans gave them a lot of backlash, so they moved Fashion Photo Review to only WoW Presents Plus. I really was leaning towards going with this Raja look or one of the ball looks because there was a lot of energy surrounding these outfits early on into the season. But if we're talking about a look that defines an all-winner season, I think of an outfit that only a winner can pull off with the budget and the ideas that they have. It's the look that caused RuPaul to stand up and give a standing ovation. We have Raja's Light It Up look. An outfit shooting lasers across the room on a 3D printed skeleton, that's only really something that could happen on this season when they're given enough time and budget to work with something really cool. The Light Up runway was one of my favorite overall runways, but out of all the outfits, there was nothing like Raja's look here. I always think about this runway when I think about All-Star 7, and this look specifically needs to be hung up in a museum, like it's really at that level. This might be a hot take, but season 15 is one of the most hit or miss seasons for runways. I won't specifically say which ones are misses, but there are some in there, and there's a lot more hits in the mix as well. The top 4 of the season all coincidentally have some of the best entrance looks that I think deserve a mention. Lux's design runway with the symmetrical pants was not something that's really easy to pull off. One that I saw mentioned a lot was Anitra's crystal ball look. It's the look that had the crystal spines, which I thought was really cool. In a similar vein, a look that I just want to mention is Aura's beautiful nightmare look. There might have been some overacting going on, but I do really love the reveal of the spine in the back. Mistress had one of my favorite looks of the season with her puffer please look. Love the colors, love the bucket hat, and it was definitely her strongest week. And another look that's definitely enhanced by a moment that it's attached to, we have Lux's glove outfit where she delivers her really iconic, however, definitely a moment that stuck with me and something that I could see myself going with, but it's not really because of the outfit, even though that wig is really funny to have on. We're not short of top tier Sasha Colby runways, and I do think I have to go with one of those. Metallica and Puffer Please are two looks that are constantly in the conversation, but I have to go with a look that maybe wasn't on the runway, but easily could have been. It's her alien look from the Blame It on the Edit video. There is no doubt over the entire course of the season that Sasha Colby was going to win, but I always look at this 15-second verse as the ultimate reason for why she took it. There is such an ethereal beauty to this outfit and the way she works the camera. Everything just complements every other part, and I still look at this as one of the top 3 visuals of Drag Race. Moving on to All Stars 8. I don't remember a lot of it. I thought Heidi's entrance was cute, Jimbo's definitely sparked a lot of conversation and definitely could be a defining runway. Kahana had some really strong runways like her net look. I personally love Darian Lake's Billie Eilish, even though the judges really didn't. But yeah, let's just come back to Jimbo. It's gonna be one of Jimbo's looks. Love her Marilyn Monroe, love her net look, but I definitely do think it's her Adam and Eve look that really takes it. This is another one of those looks where I think only a special type of person can pull it off. Definitely someone who has an eye for high concept and also is just really in the Drag Race mindset, and Jimbo is definitely that person. This was from the Snatch Game episode, and it's one of the only episodes that I remember pretty well from the season, partially because it's the episode that Heidi quit, but also this was Jimbo's definite rise out of any episode. We got her Shirley Temple in this episode, and then she came out on the runway in a look that is just like leagues above above anyone else. Jimbo's run on All-Stars 8 kind of feels like if Ben de la Creme never quit All-Stars 3. All the queens were doing good, but there was someone else running laps around them and everyone was just trying to catch up. And I think that's ultimately seen here, and that definitely gives off the overall vibe of All-Stars 8. The top 2 seasons that I think have the most consistently great runways from an entire cast would be season 13 and season 16. This season's runways are just incredible, with each queen having at least 1 or 2 looks that are home runs. I could sit here and list off so many runways, but just to keep it brief, I'll do like 3 or 4 and then pick the main one, which you probably already know. Saphira's gigantic pumpkin runway was such a gag. Plasma and Saphira's flower runways were gorgeous. Everyone in the goth runway did such a good job, like Dawn, Q, Nymphia. There's also Morphine's chain look, which is definitely iconic because of the body lip sync, but we're just beating around the bush. Of course, it's Nymphia's tie look from the ball. It was breathtaking in a way that we hadn't really seen since Utica's ball look, but even in some ways, I think it goes beyond that. The way she styled the ties, the different colors, and how they all work together, even though they are so clashing. This is easily the moment you look back on when you're wondering where Nymphia won the season. Or if you're not satisfied with this as a defining look, you could go with any of her banana outfits, because that definitely also fits. All-Stars 9 is up next, and once again, we are not short of incredible fashion from this season. Plastique and Mick definitely ruled the runway, and I do think it's a kind of toss-up between the two. Plastique's design looks and her Widow runway are easily the top 3 standouts for me, and Gottmik also has really great design runways this season, but also, of course, her Scream outfit is one of the best I've ever seen on the show. But a look that defines All-Stars 9 for the charity element and just the overall political vibe, I think it has to be Gottmik's Tail and Two Titties runway. I've tried to praise this runway as much as I can, because to me, this is just a sheer drag runway, and there's nothing really else like it. It's bloody in a deliberate way, it's supposed to kind of shock and upset you, which it definitely has on Twitter multiple times for some groups of people. These groups are saying that it's offensive to women, and then they try to misgender Mick while end up just affirming his gender. It's a genius runway, I could talk about it for so long, and there's some that definitely don't like it, but it sparks a conversation, and I think that's what drag is supposed to do. Season 17 is the most recent fully completed season, but we will give a shout out to All-Stars 10 as well. For 17, I do love a lot of the looks, but it was just hard to follow in 16's footsteps. And because we're coming down to the wire and I don't really want to beat around the bush, I'm gonna go with a look that really defines the whole vibe of 17. This was a season full of jokes and viral moments, and I don't think anything describes that better than Joella's mattress look. There are so many incredible high fashion runways that I could choose from this season, but nothing has had the same staying power as Joella's face in a cutout quilt. You can ask so many questions of how this came to be, why RuPaul's face is on the back of it, and whatever answer that you end up getting, it's probably not going to satisfy you, but it's okay because this look is just great. If I do this list again in the next coming years, this will definitely change, but for right now, this just feels correct. And as for All-Stars 10, I think I'll have to go with the look that made people gag the most in the trailer. Bosco's coffin look, where she has the cinched waist. If she ends up winning the season, I think a lot of people will look back at this look. It's ridiculous, and she was able to make a joke out of it with RuPaul. I've loved this look from the jump, and I think it's only going to get better with time. We've made it to the end through all of the seasons, over 30 minutes of me saying look, outfit, runway, so thanks for sitting through that. Comment below what looks you think I missed, or whether you would choose the same ones or different ones. And also, I want to hear what you think would be the overall full defining look of all of Drag Race. I don't think I could really pick that right now, but maybe give me a little time and then ask again. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Bellesa Boutique for sponsoring this video. I'm starting a series very soon, and I'm going to relaunch my Patreon kind of in tandem with that, so look out for that if you want to support me there. That'd be amazing. That's about it. I will see you soon with another video.